My name's Matt, and I will be talking with John Doran about mindset and growth and how shifting perspectives can lead to personal growth, better decision making, and long-term success. You are with the Phorest for over 9 years. You started on a dev side as a developer. Now you are CDO, and you were you have been through all the roles. I mean, like on the engineering side, right, from the manager to head and up to the CTO.
Yeah.
And it's not really common. So maybe could you tell a bit more about the career, and what do you think what helped you to make this journey up to the CTO?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'm not committing crimes to code anymore. I made the switch to the manager track many years ago. I joined Phorest, like nearly 10 years ago now at this point, and I joined for the company, and the mission was really motivational, and working on a smaller company, a SaaS business, was something that I was really passionate about. And the founder, I guess this was a really important factor as well. So joined as put the ego to one side. Worked really hard, got to tech lead in previous company, and put the ego to one side and just said, look, I don't really care about the roles and the titles. I just want to work in this company. They didn't have that kind of engineering ladder structure. But yeah, wanted to join Phorest and did as senior engineer. And we were really small company, small business, compared to what we are today. But yeah, just joined, got stuck in, focused on the kind of biggest business challenges that we had, worked through them. And then at a certain point, the team needed a leader. So I kind of naturally gravitated into that role, and just really focused on, nailing what we needed to do, identifying challenges, working through them, and then more opportunities came along the line. So I've never actually asked for the next level. It was always something that's kind of happened as a result of putting in the work. And I think for me, there was a turning point was when I realized, like, I can never achieve the same amount. I can never achieve the same amount on my own as I can if I can just get everyone around me to work and go in a certain direction. That was a big kind of realization for me. And the other thing was always to just be a leader that I would want to work for and make the decisions that I would be happy with if that was my manager making those decisions. So that's kind of how I have always framed what I do, or how I think about things. It's just, what would me as a software engineer value or appreciate here, or me as a manager, or me as a director feel valued, or feel important about how I maybe approach a problem, or work through something. So
How big was the company when you joined, and how big is it today?
so there was about 60 people, and about around 1,500 salons on the platform. And we're going to hit 400 people this year, and over 11,500 salons on the platform. So when I joined, just really focused on Ireland and the UK, whereas now we're much more international, where we focus on many different countries, and we've kind of broken into new markets, as well as kind of maintained leadership position in some other regions as well. So
In which countries are you?
So our main markets are UK and Ireland, DAC, Australia, Finland, and North America, so US and Canada.
And how do you approach the new markets? Do you have like I don't know, the country manager opening? Do you have somebody on the engineering side, or
Yeah, like engineering is all HQ'd out of Dublin, and then we have a kind of a matrix structure where our regions are run by country managers and go-to-market teams.
you organize pretty, I would say, famous conference, which is called the ShipConf for the 5 years, which is focused on software delivery. And I think like at least two of my guests were the speakers on the conference. And then when I were in Berlin visiting clients, I heard about it. And I think it's really cool regarding the topics that you have there. And this is like really down to earth conference. So like really good atmosphere. But I'm just wondering from your side, do you recall any of the talks where you had this aha moment, right, after hearing it, and some lessons learned that stick in your head that you could share?
Yeah, like so ShipCon, I got involved in it at the very, very early stages, and then myself and Tom kind of took things from there in terms of organizing and directing it. But for me it was always about like getting to really good tech conferences is really, really expensive, and it's quite inaccessible for many people. They can't actually get to them. And many of them that are around just try to extort money out of people or like sponsorships, and they become very sales focused and sales driven. It's not really what, like, again, coming back to like what I said about management and leadership, it's similar as a crafts person. um, what sort of event could we build that engineers would love to go to and talk about and really add value to their careers, or even just provoke their thinking a little bit differently rather than this kind of standard off the shelf stuff. So really ShipCon, like, because it's community driven, because it's all about like the tech, and it's all about really bringing people together. Um, it's very, very different, I think, to many other conferences out there. It's kind of like that has that indie vibe to it. Also, the room, the way that we stick to the same venue every year, is quite a special round room. So it's almost like a wedding event, and everyone comes together. It's like a big reunion. When you go to a wedding, you don't see friends for years, but then you see them all at the wedding, and you have loads of fun. And but this, obviously, you learn and you get to see great talks and great quality of people. I think the penny dropped for me that was really working well was when like amazing world class speakers who I would always have looked up to are literally emailing me asking me, "Hey, can I come to Dublin and talk at this year?" Like that was like a bit of a wow moment for me. I'm really proud of that. And then the other side of it too would be we get a lot of local speakers or people who have never really done the public speaking thing but have amazing stories to tell. And I think there's a lot of companies out there that are doing really amazing work that don't talk enough about the maybe advancements that they're making or how well they're, approaching certain problems. So I love getting new speakers out there to share their stories. And like ShipCon for me is not my day job, it's my passion project. So um I really like, I would obviously use my day job and maybe apply some of the learnings or people that I work with and get them to go to ShipCon or talk at ShipCon, but try to keep the two worlds a bit separate as well.
Let's talk a bit about the metrics and that you measure and what is important for you at the Forest. I think the last time when we talked, you mentioned observability as a major focus for 2024.
Yeah.
And I'm just always wondering, like, how do you communicate? How do you ensure the buy-in from the developers and the team that this is important, and why this is exactly important for you?
Yeah. So I think it all boils down to like the so what here is with anything is like what's the impact on the customer and what does it really mean for our business. So I will always, like with anything, any sort of initiative or metric, it's always tying it back to that and making sure that we can very clearly say like why is this important and why should we care about it. And with something like observability, I think people get brought down the wrong track sometimes and get too obsessed about the tooling, and really they don't focus on the customer side of things in terms of what does this mean for our customers. So for me, it was particularly around the support side of things. So I would hear about customer issues or challenges from our support teams or our end users. They might email me or text me. And like as a leader, our job is to make sure that like there's no surprises and that our end teams are on top of, the most important areas of the product, and that they understand how healthy they are, and are able to react before a customer tells them about them to fix those issues. So I kind of would have framed that quite like succinctly as we know before they call, as in we know before anyone else tells us about an issue, we will know about it. And that's kind of our North Star there. Um, so we would track things, like we just track that, how many major issues was there that we didn't know about, and what can we do differently to know about them the next time. So that will emphasize for teams to think about when they're building products, how are we going to observe these things and know that they're really working? Or when they're owning certain areas of the platform, what are these features and functionalities? How important are they to customers, and how do we know about them if they become degraded in terms of their health? So I think to bring it back to your question, like what is important is for us knowing about customer issues before they tell us. And how do we do that is by you just kind of really tracking those areas and monitoring. We use SLO, service level objectives, to have a budget, error budget, and we track that and stay on top of it. Yeah.
And like, when you're setting such a goal, let's say like observability, it's the thing for 2024. And probably in the past, you always talk with the clients on the different levels. You gather the feedback, you observe the things, what is happening, and had some, tough times, but, solve it. And I'm wondering, like, when you set the goal as a leader, as a CTO, right? And let's say, like, when do you see the first results, or how much time do you think, like, if anybody wants to implement it in their company, how much time should they expect to see the first results?
Yeah. Like, I think, like, as a CTO, your job is not to actually implement it at all. It's to set the context out and set the direction for teams to do that. So in my case, I have a couple of amazing people whose job it was to do this. So like principal engineer level people who would be embedded in teams and partner with the teams to work through this. So it would be very much it's not a top down thing. It's here's the direction we're going in, everybody, and this is what good looks like. And you have support here in these amazing people who know it inside out and can give you examples and partner with you to make this a reality. So I think it's really important to with any sort of organizational change or culture shift, to have those kind of I'd say champions, and really let them drive and work, and it's never going to be perfect. So you're going to have to kind of ebb and flow into different way. You're going to learn a lot as you're working through it. You're not going to, particularly with something like this, if you're trying to predict exactly how it's going to all work out, you're wasting your time, because you just have to kind of lean into it. If you know it's the right direction, you're going to have to work through it and learn, and as you go, and through those kind of working with teams and embedding those really amazing people in there, that's how you're going to get through it. Yeah, in terms of first impact, I would always say, like, share real stories and observations. So we just like set up little knowledge sharing Slack channels where we would do things like, here's an example of something I learned today, and here's how I found it, and here's a little video or loom of how we got there, and here's the impact. So before, this call used to take 5 seconds, now it's 10x faster. Things like that, really practical things, showing the learnings and then letting people jump onto them. I think as well, seeing like different actors get involved, like different types of roles and people, is really interesting too. So maybe a product manager jumps on and starts looking at the tooling and giving insights, which is something we've seen, which I thought was fascinating, the different use cases around it. And then as well, seeing as we're launching new products, teams instrument those areas of their features that they might not have done before, and tracking the successes and through new tooling. So I think it's been amazing.
And as a CTO, do you have your own like North Star metric? I mean, not your own, but the North Star metric that is really important for you, and how does it influence the decision making?
I think, like most companies, it would be around the NPS, like it would be around customer health and happiness. So the Net Promoter Score is really those super fans. And it's quite a lagging indicator. Like, it's not something you can just go and do 10 things tomorrow and expect a better NPS. It takes a lot of time. So we look at that as a kind of our North Star, and something that we kind of monitor quite closely.
And what was the biggest mistake or like the fuck up in the recent years, and what have you learned out of it?
Oh, there's too many to list. I think, anything to do with failure is, no one should be afraid of it, and that it should be safe to fail, because if you create an environment where that's not the case, nobody will drive change, and they will be too afraid to make and influence the direction. So I think it's really important to, without even going into examples, to make sure that it's dealt with in a positive way, and as zero blame, and that you look at it as a learning opportunity. So we had say a P1 recently, and the biggest learning for us was that our incident management process has to get better, and how we communicate internally around that. So I think you always have to look for like zero blame, high trust, and learning from those examples is really, really important for you to just constantly get better. Because if you don't, if you create a space where people are afraid of making mistakes, then you're never going to make progress. You might as well just stop doing what you're doing if you're afraid of making a mistake.
I think last time when we talked, you mentioned like really high retention rate of the employees, so which was not usual for the market for tech companies. And I'm just wondering, what are you doing like to keep it like that? Like, what is your secret sauce?
There is none. I wish I could tell you. I think kind of coming back to the culture and the people, really, like we have actually some amazing engineer managers and senior engineer managers and directors of engineering that have all grown internally. And I think one thing Phorest does really well is we call it grow your own timber. It's a kind of a philosophy we look at to take a bet. Like our CEO Ronan took a bet on me to grow me in Phorest, and I would look at that similarly to make sure everyone has a growth path and they're given opportunities. And maybe when that time is, you might be thinking let's hire in someone with more experience. I would always lean towards give someone a chance and an opportunity and let them grow. And I think that creates a really good connection with the team, and it other people like seeing their peers kicking on, and when you have that culture, I think it's quite special. The other thing I like to focus on, like the autonomy, mastery, and purpose. It's the Dan Pink Drive kind of philosophy of, if you can create an environment where people have autonomy and can make decisions, if they can master their craft and continuously learn, and if they feel they have a purpose and they know why the work they're doing is moving the dial, if you get those three things right and focus on them, you can. I think it is part of the ingredients of high retention, but it's very nuanced and complicated beast, I would say.
Are you excited about some trends in tech? I don't know, like AI or something that you are following and saying like, hey, this could be a next big thing for a product.
I'm scared a little bit actually about the future for graduates and new people that need to learn their craft. I'm excited and scared by it. I think there's an amazing opportunity there, and I think it's only going to get more powerful. But with that, I feel like I'd be quite worried if I was a graduate right now or someone who's on their learning track. And if the mindset is go all in and learn from AI, I don't think that's the right thing for our craft. I think we have to really nurture the newbies and make sure that they have the support rather than just telling them to use AI to generate loads of code, because you need to be able to interpret and understand what you're getting back, and really interact with the prompting so that you can, really craft great products. There are people out there that believe, there's no such thing as tech debt anymore because AI will just rewrite all the code and you don't need to worry about it. I haven't seen that to be true yet, but I'm looking forward to be proven wrong, but we'll see.
Um, and I bet like your work it's pretty stressful. Like I experienced myself like a C-level role. It's quite a stressful thing, and I'm always looking for, what is the most stressful aspect for you? How do you manage the stress? How do you, stay healthy mentally?
I think it comes back to having an amazing team around you that you can really trust. Because when you can let go of a lot and trust those folks around you, it's kind of life changing, to be honest. And held on to things for too long in the past, and I've always I've never regretted letting things go and giving them to other people. So I would say that I focus heavily on people around me and setting them up to win. Um, and by doing that, then that kind of helps me free myself up. Um, yeah, I would say I try to keep a balance to things, not to burn out, and try to keep a balance. But there are times where it's going to be hectic, and I think anyone at the C level would be lying if they said it was different. You have to be always on. But I think it's important to know when you need to switch off and lead by example too when you need to do that. And yeah, so I think, yeah, I would say the people around you and really investing in setting them up to win, and, building that team around you is so, so important as you scale, particularly because the challenges change every 12 months, the business changes and the context changes. And if you're growing 20, 30, 40% year on year, the organization and the needs have to change. So really focusing on the team and then leading by example in terms of just switching off when it's needed and knowing that yourself.
And the last but not least, the question that I ask all of my guests, I'm wondering if you'd recommend any books or blogs that you're following, or you had this aha moment and you enjoy reading and help you to develop yourself.
So like, yeah, I've loads. I think it depends on who is the audience. So I think for like an engineering manager or someone who's on the manager track, I think it always go to An Elegant Puzzle by Will Larson. It's one of my favorites, around many different aspects, from building teams, scaling teams, technical debt, all of that good stuff. There's an amazing book by Claire Hughes Johnson. She's the ex-COO of Stripe, and she built an amazing book called Scaling People. And it's all about building operating systems for companies and help them scale. I think it's a fantastic book, and it really talks about the discipline in building a great organization. Last one, and you asked for one, but last one is Good to Great, and that's by Jim Collins. I think it's an amazing book because it studies what an average company does and an amazing company does, and the differences between them, and it really gives some concrete, really good patterns around that. So things like the hedgehog concept and getting the right people on the bus and all of those things. So that would be a kind of a famous Phorest book that everyone reads. So they're my three.
Awesome, thank you. Good to Great, it's one of my favorite too. I really like the approach of the statistics and kind of finding the way, like how to recognize a good company. So I think it's a really good one. John, thank you so much for your thoughts and sharing all the experiences with the listeners. I really appreciate it, and wish you good luck with upcoming years. So all the best.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, everybody.
Follow Matt and Leszek on LinkedIn.